Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your friend Bats. My name is Jared, and a question I keep asking myself: will the Spider-Man reading audience ever be happy? Will people who buy and read Amazing Spider-Man be happy? It's a question I ask myself often, and I don't think they ever will. I don't think there'll ever be a collective consciousness of where, like, the group of ASM readers just go, "This is great. Oh, I'm so happy. This is what we all wanted for years." And the reason I bring this up is we can like go through the history of Spider-Man, and when the fans kind of became disenfranchised but never disenfranchised themselves from Spider-Man, they essentially, like, longtime readers dropped out but kept in the know since the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars, or it's not Clone Wars, Clone Saga. Uh, the Clone Saga. People got really upset about the Clone Saga. And to this day, in our Lord's year of 2025, the Clone Saga came out in 1994. So 31 years later, people are still upset about the Clone Saga. And you kind of see some people going back and going, hey, I went and reread the Clone Saga. I haven't read it since it came out. It's not as bad as I remember. I've seen that a lot in Marvel groups on Facebook, but that's just on those sites. I don't really use Twitter or Reddit, and so I don't really know what's going on in those discords. And so as we go through Spider-Man's history after the Clone Saga, we have the Ben Reilly stuff, and people are upset about that. They're just not happy about that. And then as we go further, we do the John Burns new chapter, whatever they were calling it. And then after that, we had a period of time of between 1 and 30. I don't know who the writer was after John Byrne. I can't remember. But I remember someone mentioning that nobody liked it until JMS came on. And then JMS came on and kind of did this soft reboot. But I remember when this was coming out, and I wasn't reading Amazing Spider-Man at the time, but I remember guys in the shop that I helped out at for free comics would be like, this is so stupid, this totem stuff, like, just completely undoes the science, accident, it could be anyone, like, this predestined stuff, it's just so stupid. I remember that happening. And then One More Day happens. People, to this day, hate One More Day. they will go, Sins Past. I don't think that was a good idea at all, by any means. I know some people get in a toot about me not being pro Mary Jane all the time, but I completely think that Sins Past was a terrible idea and should never been published, but it was. But it was. And so then One More Day happens. People hate that. And then, even though I think a lot of Brand New Day stories aren't memorable, and that's just my own personal thing, I remember reading them. At the time I was living in Napa, California. We didn't have a comic shop, and I didn't own a car to get to a comic shop. So the new issue of ASM came into the library, and I used to frequent the library all the time for movies and graphic novels and trade paperbacks to read comics. And I saw that they had Spider-Man magazines, or floppy comics, and so I was like, ooh. And so I would read ASM every week when it came out, because I would go to the library every week. So I'd go turn in my books and read ASM. And even though I was enjoying those books at the time, there's no story really stuck out for me personally. But I know a lot of people rag on One More Brand New Day. They just rag on it. They're like, oh yes, brand new day. It's just all this nonsense. And then once that phased out and we got Dan Slott did his stories. I remember people complaining about like Spider Island, which I personally loved. I thought that was a very, very fun story. I love Humberto Ramos's art. The idea just everyone got spider powers for a short period of time was fun to me. I liked it. I know a lot of people got very upset with Superior Spider-Man. I enjoyed that story. And I know a lot of people got very annoyed with Peter being like a Tony Stark character in Volume 4. I remember really enjoying Volume 4. I remember enjoying Volume 3 a lot with Silk, and I thought that was weird, but it was fun. But I remember reading ASM and collecting it because at the time I wasn't looking at like the internet's opinion of Spider-Man. And I was just reading ASM and just enjoying it. But once I looked at the internet, like the internet was telling me stuff that I actually really enjoyed was bad. And I was like, all right. I mean, I could see why they don't like it, but I like it, so whatever, screw them. And so, as we know, we keep going forward. There is not a point in time where people go, "Hey, this is awesome," because after Volume 4 ended, where Peter Parker was like competitor to Tony Stark. They hated that. They hated Mary Jane that was working there. They're just like, make them married again. And it's like, that's not a story. That's a gimmick. Like, just making them married again isn't a story. It's a gimmick. You have to tell a story. Spider-Man is a story. It's not just like everything is just concrete, and if you change it, it's wrong. I thought it was interesting that Mary Jane worked for Tony Stark as his assistant, like the new Pepper Potts. I thought it was a little weird, but I thought it was interesting enough because now Mary Jane's in a new dynamic. She's not with Peter, and she's not with like her friends from college and all her, like she's with this like multi-billionaire, and she's got this new job, and there's drama with the competing companies between Parker Industries and Stark Industries. To me, that's interesting. But people hated that. I liked the suit. I really liked that glowy metal liquidy suit. I thought it was fun. It still looked like Spider-Man, but, modernized. It was fun. People hated that. And then once that ended and the Nick Spencer run started, I'm a fan of Invincible, so once I found out the Invincible artist was coming over to Spider-Man, I thought that was really good. I thought it was fun and interesting, and Nick Spencer at the time really upset me with Captain America, and I think everyone, rightfully so, but I wanted to give him a chance on Spider-Man, and I liked his run on Spider-Man, and just due to me moving and having a financial situation, I dropped Spider-Man, and all the way through Nick Spencer's run, people started. They're like, "Oh, we like this. They're gonna reinstate the marriage. Oh, they're not reinstating the marriage. This run sucks. Everything about this sucks." And then we go into Zeb Wells. I haven't read any of the Zeb Wells run, the Paul stuff. I haven't read any of it, so I can't speak on it, but I have seen a lot of videos on YouTube of people complaining about Volume 6. That's fine. Maybe I'll read it one day, and I'll get back to you. And then now we're in Volume 7, and I see a lot of people actually going, "Hey, I like this," but I also see a lot of other people going, "You're stupid for liking this." And we're never gonna get the marriage. They're never gonna fix Peter, and blah blah. Like, it's just this like regurgitating YouTube conversation amongst fans. There is literally a book where Peter is married to Mary Jane. Read that. Stop complaining. It's silly. You're silly. Stop it. So when I look at Spider-Man fans, I'm a Spider-Man fan myself, but a lot of y'all are a bit much. I think there is a large audience of Spider-Man fans who just buy and read Spider-Man, enjoy the comic, put it in a box, and completely forget about it. And they just don't break their run. That is why Spider-Man's always a number one selling comic at Marvel. Don't quote me on that number, but I know it's always a top selling book. Amazing Spider-Man is the Batman of, it's always going to be a top seller for its respective company. And so for the last 31 years, there's been a very vocal part of the Spider-Man fandom just complaining. Now, I have some very simple advice for you. Stop reading and stop buying the book. You probably don't buy the book. You probably pirate it. And that's a whole nother conversation. But if you don't like it, stop giving it your energy. Stop worrying about it. I just didn't read Spider-Man for like 6 years. And I came back and I'm like, oh yeah, I love Spider-Man. I read old Spider-Man and I enjoy old Spider-Man. But, I wasn't reading anything new just because I now live 2 hours away from a comic shop, and I had to get stack my money up. It's like the rappers say, I gotta get that money. And now I'm in a financial situation where I can buy comics almost like loosely. I can I want that comic. And so, which is nice. But I came back to Spider-Man and I'm like, oh, this is fun. This art is amazing. The story's really cool. I like this stuff. And then I go online and then just people are just complaining. I'm like, y'all just want to complain. And so the question is the Spider-Man fandom ever going to be happy? Because the section of the Spider-Man fandom that are upset, who've essentially been upset since the Clone Saga, which was in 1994. It is 2025. It is 31 years later. Y'all are never going to be happy. So just stop and let us be happy. So that's my thoughts. What are yours? Am I completely out of? Am I wrong, or is everything actually that bad and I'm just biased and I'm just am I just a shill? What is happening here? Why do comic book fans attack the editor for just doing his job? His job is to get the Spider-Man books out on time and manage his creative teams. And Spider-Man has been around since 1962, 63. The guy's been around a while. He's had probably 50 birthdays at this point in comics. He's had 50 Christmases at this point. We're not worried about the sliding timeline. Come on, man. Spider-Man's not broken. I think the readership is broken. They're not accepting that this character is kind of just who this character is. And because at one point you grew up with the character, but now you're old. I'm 40 years old in July upon this recording. Right. I'm old now, and I am now older than some of my favorite characters, such as Spider-Man, such as Nightwing. I'm I mean, on most stories, I'm older than Batman now. Batman's like perpetually like 35. So, holy moly, I'm old. But I also enjoy the sliding timeline, the fantastical silliness of superheroes. So, are we as fans willing to accept that we're just old and grumpy, or are we just going to yell and complain on the internet? So, I'm done. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great day, and I catch you guys on next one. Peace.